Jackson's hands froze over the holographic display when the proximity alarm chirped. Nothing should have been out here, not in the abandoned mining sector of Kepler 4R42b. He was 3 months into his solo geological survey, and the only visitors he'd had were dust storms and the occasional meteor shower. The camera feed showed a small figure stumbling toward his habitat module. Not human, definitely not human. The creature was barely 4 feet tall, covered in iridescent scales that shifted between violet and silver. 4 eyes blinked independently, on a face that was too elongated to be terrestrial, and 6 thin limbs moved with desperate urgency. Blood, or something like it, stained the creature's side, leaving a dark trail in the red dust. Jackson's hand moved to the defensive systems, but something stopped him. The way the creature moved. The way it kept looking back over its shoulder. The universal language of fear needed no translation. He opened the airlock. The creature collapsed the moment the interior door sealed. Jackson grabbed his med kit, though he had no idea what half these instruments would do to an alien physiology. Up close, he could see the creature was young, something in the proportions, the way the scales hadn't fully hardened along the joints. "Easy," Jackson said softly, reaching out slowly. "I'm not going to hurt you." The creature's translator device crackled to life, a small disc embedded in what might have been clothing or possibly skin. "Help me, human." The voice was high and trembling. "My parents were killed today. Can I stay here?" Jackson felt his chest tighten. He'd been a combat medic before becoming a surveyor. He knew that tone. He'd heard it in war zones across 3 colonies. "You're safe now," he said, applying a universal coagulant to the wound. It seemed to work. The bleeding slowed. "What's your name?" "Luna," she said. "My parents were scientists. We were studying the crystal formations in the northern canyons when they came. The Kresh Syndicate." Jackson knew that name. Every human in the frontier knew it. The Kresh were bounty hunters, slavers, and worse. They operated in the legal gray zones where the Galactic Council's authority dissolved into empty space. "Why? Did they attack you?" Luna's 4 eyes focused on him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "Because my parents discovered something. Something the Syndicate wants buried. They're coming, human. They tracked our ship's trajectory. They know someone came here." As if summoned by her words, Jackson's long-range scanner screamed a warning. 3 ships descending fast, military grade by the signature. His habitat's shields could maybe withstand 1 strafing run before collapsing. "Hide," Jackson said suddenly, his voice shifting into the command tone he'd thought he'd left behind. "They're coming for you." "But you?" "I'm a human surveyor on a registered claim. They can't just kill me without bringing down council heat. You're a witness to murder. Different rules." He pulled open a maintenance shaft beneath the floor. "Get in. Don't make a sound no matter what you hear." Luna hesitated, her scales shifting to a pale, frightened blue. Then she squeezed into the space. Jackson sealed it and scattered equipment over the hatch. The ships landed in a triangle, formation around his habitat, kicking up clouds of red dust. Jackson watched 6 Kresh warriors emerge, each one a towering mass of chitin and weaponized brutality. They made the galaxy's other predator species look like house pets. The lead Kresh hammered on the airlock with enough force to dent the reinforced door. Jackson opened it manually, making them wait, making them see he wasn't afraid. Fear was blood in the water to creatures like this. "This is a registered human claim," Jackson said evenly. "You're trespassing." The lead Kresh's translator rendered its voice as a grinding avalanche. "We detected an escape pod's trajectory terminating at these coordinates. We're retrieving stolen property. I've been alone here for 3 months. Check my logs. Logs can be falsified." The Kresh pushed past him, and Jackson had to remind himself not to reach for the plasma cutter on his belt. That would just give them an excuse. They tore through his habitat with methodical efficiency, destroying equipment that had taken him months to calibrate. Jackson stood still, arms crossed, watching. They found nothing because there was nothing. To find, Luna was completely hidden, her translator powered down. After 20 minutes, the lead Kresh returned to him. "Perhaps we were mistaken, but understand, human. If we discover you've aided fugitives, No council will protect you. We have influence. Jackson met the creature's multifaceted eyes without flinching. And I have something you don't. I have principles. The Kresh made a sound that might have been laughter or a threat. Then they left, their ships scorching his solar panels on takeoff out of pure spite. Jackson waited an hour before opening the hatch. Luna emerged, shaking but alive. "They'll come back," she said quietly. "I know." Jackson was already pulling up star charts. "But by then, we'll be gone. I know people, sympathetic people who can get you to council space where you can testify." "Why?" Luna asked. "Why risk everything for someone you just met?" Jackson thought about the question, about the bodies he'd seen in war, about the refugees he'd evacuated, about the moment he'd left the military because he couldn't stomach one more order to abandon civilians to their fate. "Because someone once told me that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons," he said. "It's that we can't walk past someone who needs help, even when the smart thing, the safe thing, is to look away." He smiled grimly. "Especially then." Luna's scales shifted to a warm gold color. Gratitude, he guessed. "Now," Jackson said, powering up his ship's engines for the first time in months, "let's go introduce the galaxy to why humans are more trouble than we're worth." Outside, the red dust of Kepler 442b swirled in the thin atmosphere, already covering the signs of violence. But in the small survey ship lifting toward the stars, carrying a human surveyor and an alien refugee, the future was being written in the oldest human tradition. The tradition of standing up when it would be easier to stand aside. The end.